Hello guys, my name is Evans and welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to be doing the 2016 March edition of the paper 2-1 exam, and we're going to dive into the section on database labels, and then later on we'll do another video where we'll look at presentation and all. So let's get started. I've already put the files that I need for this exam on my desktop, and we are going to use those files. Okay, so task 4, database labels. You're going to prepare attendance badges for a meeting. Step 23, produce labels from all the data which are arranged in 2 columns. Only includes employees whose job description contains engineer and who work in the offices in Mumbai or Bangalore, and then shows only the fields first name and family name on one line with their job description on the next line, and includes this heading in a larger font size at the top of each label. And then the heading is supposed to be manner project development, and you're supposed to include your name, center number, and candidate number at the bottom of each label. And so the page layout is supposed to look like this. So this is if this is your paper, you're supposed to have 2 columns of the labels. Okay, so one column and the other column there, and then you're just supposed to print your work after you are done. Okay, so this is what we are going to do in this section. It's going to be a short video, and let's see how far we can go with it. Alright, so I'm going to open up Access. If you remember very well, this is the database that we were working with in the other part of data manipulation. So we need now to go back to the question paper. Okay, so step 23 says we produce labels from all the data which are arranged in 2 columns, and then they include employees whose job description contains engineer, and so on and so forth. So like I said in the other videos, when you are working with data labels, it is a good idea to identify which parts of these instructions can be worked with in a query, and then you can use that query to build your labels. Okay, so I've identified, usually with a query, like I said, there are 2 types of queries that you have. You have queries that are known as action queries, and then you have select queries. Okay, action queries are those queries that perform an action on a database. Okay, whereas select queries, okay, they are queries that are used to retrieve particular information from a database. Okay, so in our case, when we deal with database labels, we are mainly creating select queries which are going to be used to retrieve specific details from a database based on a certain criteria. For example, we've been told that we're supposed only to show employees whose work contains, or whose job description contains engineer, and they work in office Mumbai or Bangalore. So here we're going to create an action query which is going to retrieve this data, and then based on that action query that would have created, then we can go ahead and build our label. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a query which is going to contain engineer, and then the offices Mumbai or Bangalore, and yeah, I think this is the only criteria that we have, and then the rest of the stuff we can do them in a label. So I'm going to open Access, go to create, and query wizard, select a simple query, and let's go ahead and select the fields that we are going to use to do that. So remember, this is a relational database. The 2 tables, employees table and M16 offices table, these are linked together and to form a relationship. So we are told that we are supposed to use show the fields first name, family name, and job description. So let's pick up these fields: first name, Just double click on it, family name and job description. And then there is one more field that we are using, and this is the field, where am I? The field offices. Okay, so we need to get this field so that we retrieve Mumbai or Bangalore. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the office table and select office. Okay, so there you go. So go to next and modify query and finish it. So this is your query here. Right now you can run this query if you want, and you will see that you have only the 4 fields that are required in order to produce our database label. But you notice also that the question paper asks us only to display the first name and the family name, and including the job description, just 3 fields. Okay, the other field, office, we've just used it in the query so that we can be able to extract the data that we want. Okay, so let's go ahead and extract. So as you can see, we have different offices there. We have Ahmedabad and you have Bangalore, and other offices are listed there. Our job is to extract this information and just have only the required or desired information displayed. So go to design view. So let's go ahead and check what we have. Okay, so the job description should contain engineer. So let's go to access, and under job description just type start with asterisk, asterisk, and then engineer. Okay, or let me put it in simple, engineer, and then put an asterisk at the end. Now the asterisks at the end, at the start and beginning of engineer, they imply that at the beginning of the text or the word or the phrase, you don't really care what should start as long as there is engineer that is contained there. The same thing, the asterisk at the end there, is that you don't care what happens after engineer. So in other words, you're looking for a sentence or a phrase or a word which is going to encompass or contain engineer, and then that should be extracted. So for example, let's say environmental engineer, electrical engineer, all these, as long as there is engineer content in that, then you should be able to retrieve that. Okay, so that is one criteria that we are going to use. Then the other criteria is that they are supposed to work in Mumbai or Bangalore. Okay, so we come here. So under criteria for office, you're supposed to put Mumbai and then space or Bangalore. Okay, and just click outside here. Now guys, one of the common mistakes that students really make here, may I pause here and just say something here, is when they want to select Mumbai or Bangalore, just because they have seen this all here under criteria, then you will see them type Mumbai just like that, and then you see them type Bangalore here. Now what this does is that it's going to work, but the implication is different, okay, from what we were being asked for. What this would do is that it will first run this first query under criteria. It will extract those that are engineers from Mumbai, or that contain the word engineer from Mumbai, and then separately it will come and run those that contain Bangalore. So when you run this query, you will see that you have Bangalore, but some of the job description don't contain engineer. Like you have here quantity surveyor, there's no engineer there. It's because it ran first of all for Mumbai, and then it ran separately for Bangalore. So all the Bangalore fields were listed, including those that contained engineers and those that did not contain engineer. Okay, so this is very important, guys, here, and you can end up losing marks if you're not careful on this part. So go back here. What you're supposed to do is to remove this part, and it should be in the same line, so that when the query is run, this one is run at the same time. Okay, so what happens is that whether it's Bangalore or it's Mumbai, it should contain some form of engineering as part of the job description. So go ahead and run this, and you will see that now we are going to extract only Bangalore, but everywhere you see under job description, you will see that there is engineer that is contained. Okay, so I hope I've made that clear. So the next thing that we're supposed to do is to go back just to the question paper. So we've done with a query, and it is able to extract only those that got job description containing engineer, and they are from Mumbai or Bangalore. And the next thing that we're supposed to do now is to go ahead and create our label based on this query. So select the query that you want and go to create and labels. Now, one of the common mistakes that you find in Access, for example, if you're using Access for the very first time, you see that it is set on label type, it is set under continuous. Now, when you have Access set on continuous under label type, what this means is that if you select, regardless whether you select a label with 3 columns or 2 columns, or 2 columns like that, it won't be displayed on 2 columns as expected in the question paper like this. It will just be one long list of labels because they are continuous. So what you need to do is to select sheet feed, okay, and then select just one of the type of the labels that are indicated here. I love to go just for the first one because it looks good. The size is also good for you have 50 millimeters by 70 millimeters, so you don't have these labels which are too compressed or too cluttered. At least there will be space in between the labels and it will look good. Okay, so go next, and I won't change anything here, so just go next. And now here what it's supposed to do is to indicate what is going to be of this label. Okay, so we want, first of all, we want on the label, we were told that it should show the first name, family name on one line, and then with that job description on the next line. So what this means is that when you go to Access, the first name and space, just tap space there, and then the family name should be on one line like that, and then hit enter key on your keyboard and put job description. Now please don't put office. Office, we just used it in order to create the query. So in this case, office is not going to be shown on the label. Okay, so it's very important. Now the other thing that you're supposed to also take note of is that we have not been told to show the labels or the titles, such as first name and so on and so forth. We're not supposed to show those. Okay, so these are enough. Just click on next, and then let me just verify this. Yeah, so just these 3, and then go to next, where there's no need for us to sort anything here. So just click on next, and then modify the design label and hit that. So what we're going to do now is to just drag this a little bit down to create space for the heading on top, and get a label and put that for a heading. Okay, now the heading is supposed to be Mana Project Development, this one. So I'm just going to copy this and go ahead and paste it in the label. I didn't create the label. Okay, just paste it in there. Okay, so this is your label. So the only thing that we need to do now is come back to the question paper. We are told that on this label it should be a larger font, and it should be at the top of each label. So we need to make sure that it's a larger font. So go to format, and once it is selected, change to, let's say, 16. Yeah, 16 is large. Just enlarge it a little bit, and just resize, align it properly, and yeah, that looks good. So I'll change the color to black so that it looks good. The next thing that we're supposed to do, we can go ahead and preview this at this stage if you want. Just print preview, and you'll see that you have Mana Project Development, and this, the first name and family name, and then you have Site Manager and so on. But I wonder why it is showing Site Manager when in our in our um, in our question, we were told that it should not show anything to do with the managers, as long as it should be just showing engineering. Okay, so let's go back and check that again. So I'm going to just this is print preview. I'm just going to close this, go back here, close this. Okay, say yes, and okay, so we don't have anything here, so just click here. Alright, so I had to pause the video so that I could just figure out why it was showing some names which had to be like site manager and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and preview this. I'm going to explain why it was showing that. Remember, initially we okay, so now it's showing all the engineers. What happened was that when we created the query under here, the query here, when we created the query and we put under design, we put bungalow just under all, you notice that we had a list of bungalow offices here, and then some were not part of the engineer. So when we did change that, we were supposed to save this query so that all the changes are effective. So what we did not do is that we did not save these changes, and so what happened was that the labels were actually built on the platform of the first query that we created, which contained all bungalow office, and then also the job description. Some of them did not even contain engineering. So this is what actually happened, and we ended up having a label which contains some where a site manager and stuff like that, and but like this now it's perfectly fine. So guys, don't forget, when you create your query, don't forget to save a query before you build your label. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the design view of this one. So just go ahead and close close this. So let's see. Okay, so the next thing after we are done with this one, we're supposed to include the name, center number, and candidate number at the bottom of each label. Okay, and the page layout is supposed to look like that. It is already looking like that. So let's go back to Access and close the print preview. So go to Home and change to Design View, and then at the bottom there, just drag and drop a text box and type your candidate details. So Chikasa Evans, ZM 556 and 0001. Okay, so that's that. Go ahead and preview this to see if it corresponds to what you want. So this is what we have. So the only last that we need to do is to rearrange the candidate details so that they actually fit in the same line as the other fields. Okay, so just put them like that. So that looks good. All right, so at this point you have your labels ready and they look perfectly fine. So what you just need to do is to go ahead and print this according to the question. So this is what we have. So the I almost says the Bible says you know, when you're used to preaching some of these things, you start now mentioning the Bible says hallelujah, amen. Okay, so we're told at this step that we're supposed to save and print your labels. Okay, so make sure that you have your name, center number, and candidate number on each label. Okay, and we've just done that. Okay, so this is a total of 9 marks, and you can go ahead and print this report. Okay, so this has been Evans, and I'll see you in the next video when we look at the next section of this paper. And there's just 2 more sections actually before we finish this paper. And I encourage you to just subscribe, like, share, comment, and do whatever you can. But if there's a paper that you want me to work on, you can also just comment it out. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video shortly.